The one thing that we don't have that we should have is a magazine. We don't have a magazine where we can, push the next Neil Adams of the United States, Shintaro Higashi, with what you've been doing with your podcast, with being on the tour as a commentator, color commentator. We don't have that.
I mean, you just say it was all bringing money, $10 million would cure this thing. How do we do that?
We have to look for sponsorships,
outside money. And you know what? I think that is the number one thing that's come, from every interview that I've done so far of the candidates and the people in the back end. We got to bring in outside money, and everyone says it. How many people have a plan? People have promised, I'm going to bring in this millions of dollars into this thing. No one really has done it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show with Peter Yu. This is sort of the election series. We have Ramon Hernandez on. He's been a long-time judo competitor, judo coach, running tournaments now. That's your main gig right now, right?
It's along with running my judo dojo. Running the Garden State Judo Classic and the North American Judo Championships is a big deal for us here in North Jersey. And I'm actually trying to put together a team championship with Saro, my chief referee, for December 15th. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that later on, or at another time.
And the reason why I have you on is because you're very involved with judo politics, which is kind of happening right now in our backyard with USA Judo, with Joe Ragan being removed from the board and the election coming up. Today's the last day to register for vote, September 27th. I'm sure this video will be out way after that, but there's a voting period. And then we've been interviewing sort of candidates little by little, but you got some strong feelings about this. Let's hear it.
What can I tell you other than, I don't think that we're paying attention to the end user, which is us, the competitor, the coach, and I'll add the parents in there, because you got to kind of cater, to all of us, and so, we definitely have a voice by voting, and but I just don't think that they're doing a lot of listening, and just by watching what's going on, what just happened in the board, with kicking Joe out, I can't tell you what a black guy that is to us, how they're looking at us, from the IGF. It's like, oh, well, here's the U.S. typical. Look what they're doing.
Do you think the IGF is aware of this?
Oh, I think they're paying attention without a doubt. Without a doubt, they're looking.
What makes you say that?
Because look at our last CEO is Jose Rodriguez. He works for the IGF right now. I'll bet you he's very in tune to
Pan American Judo. Yeah, he's PJC, right?
Yeah. So he's paying attention.
He's been through it, being part of USA Judo, because he was the CEO of USA Judo for a very long time.
Yeah, and
now he's not. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of aware of how the board functions and such.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're watching us, huh?
No, they listen. I would bet I'd bet my house on it.
So you think Jose Rodriguez watching this, and now he's reporting to the higher ups?
Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Yeah. Why wouldn't he?
I go on the IJF trips now, and then I get to see, Vlad and Igor and some of the high executives of IJF, and those guys are, hey, we want USA Judo to grow. We don't understand why this market is completely untapped. I don't know what's going on over there. This is part of the reason why you're here, to give an American voice to the commentating as well, because English from UK is a little bit different. It sounds different. You know what I mean? So they're like, hey, LA 2028 is coming up. We really want to make a push for it. Like, we don't want this thing to bomb. So in every way, shape, or form, the attention really is on USA Judo. Huge opportunity for us. Very exciting times to be on the forefront of this, Who would you vote for?
Well,
who's your favorite candidate?
Right now, in terms of, let's say I'm not eligible to vote for athlete director, but my two choices are the guys that are going through the grind right now, which is Nicole Stout and Ari Berliner. As coach, director, I would vote for Ari Miller.
Great. So why those guys?
Ari Miller, he's at all the national events. All right. Number two, he's an ear to talk to. I talk to when something's going on, whether with my tournament or whatever, coach certifications, things like that. I always call Ari or Pat, and Ari's just somebody I can relate to. I can talk to. He owns a club. He's in the trenches like we are. as recreational coaches.
So Ari's running against Jimmy Pedro.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
And so that'll segue for me to talk about like identifying, what we really are in the US as coaches. And 90% of them are part-time coaches, Shintaro, with jobs. Some
Yeah.
guys are just doing it, for the passion of teaching judo.
Yeah.
And we did agree to pay American Judo, now it'll be $1 million in, to put up a very healthy and robust platform for our coaches. But at the end of the day, we could have plunked that money down into helping our athletes. And listen, I think the intention.
Are you talking about the $1 million acquisition for American Judo System by Jimmy Pedro by USA Judo? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the platform that they built for USA Judo for us.
American Judo System.
American Judo System.
Yeah.
And so, listen.
Wait, let me ask you a question. So, is that something that was built for USA Judo, or were they already doing it and then USA Judo came and bought it?
No, I think it was built for USA Judo. I think they sold it to USA Judo. And, at the end of the day, we have to pay attention to the results. And the results is that only 12% of our membership is using that. And now how could that, $1 million, $250,000 a year for 4 years could have helped, our first and second tier athletes here in the US? Because at the end of the day, when you think about the history of USA Judo, USJI, it was made, right? It was that entity was formed to help our Olympic movement. That was our, the mission, right? Yeah. And so by doing this, by let's say investing, it had good intentions. I agree that it had excellent intentions, but now we know the result of those intentions. Why do we want to further invest in that? I would prefer to invest in our athletes.
Yeah,
developing our athletes.
Yeah.
How could $250 back in your day when you were crisscrossing the planet, how could that have helped you as an athlete? In terms of, I mean,
250 G's, good amount of money. You send a bunch of athletes overseas, pay for a world team trip, whatever it is.
Yeah. So, or bringing them together, for camps, but I just don't think that a lot of decisions are being made without like polling, the end user, which is you and me, as coaches, athletes, even, I hate to say it, but even parents, because, parents are flipping the bill. I'm not talking about parents, bantams or, intermediates or juveniles. I'm talking about, cadets, IGF junior, right? That's the pipeline, for our future. And, it's we're not paying attention to it. Actually, what I'll talk about, one guy, Joe Ragan, he put in a good nickel into helping that sector, and we just kicked him out. We gave him a boot in the ass, and I think it was all had nothing to do with helping judo. It just had to do it all with politics.
So, do you know who voted against him? Who voted to kick him out?
Not entirely. Not entirely. I just feel we did a disservice to ourselves. We did the rest of the world.
But he's running again. So Joe Ragan was removed from the board because of a potential conflict in the bylaws, right? If you're running for, was it at large?
He was an independent. He was independent.
So if you're an independent, you can't be an athlete or a coach. And they figured, he is. But, this is the thing, like you limp into a veterans tournament or something like that. Now all of a sudden you're considered an athlete. Now he's disqualified. That seems like a technicality. Maybe the bylaws need to change. Who knows? So they did the, I guess, right thing by the bylaws, and then now he's out. But you're saying he did so much, we should have just looked the other way, or is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that they looked for any technicality to get this guy to get him out. I just feel it was they were operating on bad intentions, and I wouldn't have treated Joe that way. They voted him to be president. Yeah, but they voted him to be president a year before, and now we look like the JA right now. I'm not, it's just it's it's not a great look. The IGF is looking, and they're the U.S. is up to its usual antics. I hate that.
But he's running again against Jason Morris for
Yep.
Group B director.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Group B is where like each state organization gets a vote, but it's not 50 something states. It's like 27 or something like this. Or what? Mm-hmm. How many? Do you remember how many votes?
I think
New York 26. State Judo gets, New Jersey Judo gets a vote, but like some smaller states are kind of like banded together, right?
Yep.
So Jason Morris or Joe Ragan?
Before I answer that question, I'm going to tell you that both of them have my confidence, and both of them will do the right thing down the road. I think one of them will take a step back and let the other person run.
You think so?
I think so. It's my feeling in my bones.
No.
Yeah.
Which would be a better person to run it?
I think both bring intangibles to the position. I mean, Jason, obviously 4-time Olympian, 2008 Olympic coach.
Does that matter, being a 4-time Olympian, to be running on the board? Does that really matter? Question.
So the answer is yes, considering our mission is to help get athletes to that level. Okay. No doubt. But I also think Joe's experience as a high-powered business executive, that's the guy companies chomp at the bit to bring in to put together billion-dollar acquisitions. Joe, in that regard, he's a baller. He's experienced. And so.
But business acquisitions, multi-billion-dollar acquisitions versus sitting on the USA Judo board, a little bit of a different job description.
Different,
because there has to be a little political thing happening where you kind of have people on your side in order to really make a big change. And, the person who kind of can influence the majority of the board, those are the guys. It's like, right? Isn't that so? Based on that, who do you think?
Both of them have my confidence to do it. And I think, listen, for Judo, I'd have to pick Jason, but I believe both can do the job. Both can navigate the politics.
Yeah.
Unless, we continue to resort to this cancel out, let's find something on this guy so we can get him off the board. I mean, if that's going to happen, it's we're never going to get anywhere.
So Nicole Stout and Ari Berliner is the two athlete representatives that you would like to vote for, correct?
They are in the grind right now. They are traveling around and
competing.
And those are two people that they've had experience being on the board.
Yeah, but what about like Marty and Angelica? They've already done it. They stepped out of it. Now they're sort of can focus. I mean, if you're an athlete, you're traveling, you're thinking about making a team. Yeah, I don't know how much time they would have to be sort of sitting on these board meetings, this and that, and then, I don't know. What do you think?
It really depends on their level of commitment.
Yeah.
I mean, are these guys just being put in to sway the vote in a certain way, or are they in it, for the betterment of the movement?
It's true. Because if you look at Jason and then Nicole and Ari both train under Jason, so that's a nice little chunk of it, right? And there's these factions that are kind of popping up that you kind of have to look at, right?
Who's backing who?
Who's backing who?
Who's backing who?
Really, that's the political juicy stuff, in the back, right? Who's the guy who's making all the right, and
Yeah. At the end of the day,
vote can you influence and. All right, so let's just say you're on the board and you have majority, like you control 7 of them. Let's just say theoretically, okay. You're on the board, you're the president, and you got 6 dudes or girls that are like, oh, Ramon, whatever you vote, we got it,
Yeah.
And then you're able to introduce new business to the meeting. What would be the thing that you would do to make USA Judo better?
Figure out a way to support athletes financially, so we can get somewhere,
Yeah, I mean, to say it was all bringing money, $10 million would cure this thing. How do we do that?
We have to look for sponsorships, and
outside money. And you know what? I think that is the number one thing that's come, from every interview that I've done so far of the candidates and the people in the back end. We got to bring in outside money, and everyone says it. How many people have a plan? People have promised, I'm going to bring in this millions of dollars into this thing. No one really has done it.
No
one. Not one person that's said that they're going to do it hasn't really done it. I mean, that I see it. obviously invisible. I haven't paid attention to this in a long time, but from what I hear so far,
Well, you need to hire somebody that's going to bring it in, and has that happened? In the last, let's say, two CEOs? No, we
yeah,
haven't had
yeah.
that, and we need it.
But it's the job of the CEO to do that, though, right?
It is a job. That's. I think they hire that person off of that.
So the
In the interview
biggest
process.
decision that the board makes is about the CEO, whether the CEO is capable of bringing money into the sport,
Correct.
because they're ultimately in charge of the budget as well.
Correct.
All right, so it really does come down to the CEO. What is this guy doing to raise money? Is my next question.
That part, I don't know. I can tell you that I have access to Keith, meaning that if I need to talk to him, for, let's say, tournament reasons, being that I run, two big tournaments here in the tri-state area, I can talk to him. Like, he's been in that regard, Keith has been a good partner. We put together a program here in Jersey, to help get more people onto USA Judo. We got a grant for $10,000, and we've been what have we directed that towards getting new people on their memberships for USA Judo. So we're probably like just under 2,000 in, of doing that, and that's something that that procedural wise I worked with Keith. So I know that with regards to that, he's accessible, to us. But in terms of, raising money, in terms of, helping our athletes, that's the goal. 100%. It's to produce better results. And so the last two Olympics, unfortunately, hey, I give a lot of credit to those athletes. But we need to. Are we failing them at this point by not, producing the results that we need in terms of sponsorships to help these guys? So the one guy that actually donated money, he's not taking money, donated money to USA Judo to help athletes. We just kicked him out.
Did I hear Joe Ragan gave $100,000?
Yeah, that's the same number I heard, and Go figure. Who else on the executive board is doing that?
Nobody.
And we just the one source that we just had, we just sent them packing. We gave him a boot in the ass.
I mean, that kind of like that's weighs pretty big. Whether or not he's a shrewd businessman or whether somebody's an Olympian, I don't think that matters so much sitting on the board. But that's where you're putting your money where your mouth is. Anyone could say, "Oh, I'm going to try to raise money. I know all these guys. I'm connected with the business world, et cetera, et cetera." But someone to come to the table and say, "Hey, man, I really believe in this. Here's $100,000 out of my own pocket." I think that speaks volumes, man. That's putting your money where your mouth is.
We did ourselves a disservice there, unfortunately. And I'm talking.
Well, he's running again. I don't know what his criticisms are from the opposition. I know Jimmy Pedro endorsed Jason, and I've been, so I really don't know.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, what has he done?" I don't know. And but I'm going to get him on here. He said he wants to do it, so I can't wait to kind of have him on, get his side of things. Speaking of money, I want to thank the sponsors of this show, Drew, Jason, and Levon. Thank you very much. JudoTV.com, discount code Shintaro. HigashiBrand.com, also a sponsor. That's my thing. And if you're listening and if you have tons of money, right, maybe we could talk about getting, USA Judo to raise some funds. And then I could say, hey, man, look, I've done more of this sport than you guys. Put me on the board maybe next year,
I actually, speaking of Higashi brand, I just bought my winter hat.
Oh, thank you. I did see that. Thank you, man. Thank you for the support. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
But man, so, all right. So raise funds is sort of, that's just really it, man. That's what it really comes down to,
I mean, what kind of outreach have we had in terms of reaching out to corporations, for
There's no outreach. There's no outreach. And you know what? Let me tell you something. I have a dojo in New York City on the Upper West Side, 200 members, right? Yeah. I have a dojo, Kano Martial Arts, in Chelsea, 150 members. So we got 350 people doing judo between the two schools. You know how many members are USA Judo members or USJF members?
I'm scared that probably 10%.
Not even, dude.
Yeah.
Because these guys don't compete. and I have secondary insurance and stuff like that. And then it's
I
like,
do.
all right, well, what's the point of you know what I mean? And then when they sign up, hey, I'm here to do judo. Okay, great. Here's the registration fee. Here's the cost for the gi. Here's the membership fee. That's already up to $500. And now you got to buy a USA Judo membership and fill out this long ass form.
Yeah.
It's just another sticking point for us to run a business.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just too much of a nuisance for me to chase after these guys to do a USA Judo membership. So I just don't bother, because there's my immediate benefit of like signing them up immediately. All right, fine, registration is waived. We'll give you a free gi, you know, do this judo thing. And then eventually when they want to compete, all right, now you need a USA Judo membership, because you have to have a membership to compete.
Yeah.
Like, if they can't just walk in with no membership, right? When you compete with you.
Yeah.
So that's when, okay, all right, I'll register.
Unless
very small percentage. Yeah.
Some tournament directors are going to this private insurance, right? And that's just another thing that, again, all the three organizations are just losing a grip on that aspect of it in terms of sanctioning tournaments. Right now, USA Judo is the king on the hill with regards to providing everything, you know, providing an easy process for I'll give them that, you know, providing an easy process for sanctioning, providing an easy process for promoting, promoting from belt to belt, USJA can't touch them in that regard, you know. But the part where obviously they need help is to identify what is the need of the end user, and then for coaches, it's about being helpful and creating the fandom that's needed in the sport, so we can grow the sport. Number one, and number two is helping to grow the base of judo. Judo's not out there like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is. That's a huge problem. And so the one thing, like, let's say a lot of these clubs are not run like yours, like a dojo and like a business, right? With a person that has that entrepreneurial spirit. It's run by part-timers that run it out of a rec center, that run it out of a YMCA, that run it out of a PAL, and so they probably make their own investment in mats, and they're teaching maybe twice a week, and so how's that person supposed to get ahead and build unless he quits his job and builds a school like you or I do. It's not a lot of people are willing to do that. So it's identifying the fact that we are not that. We're not that, and for the ones that want to be that, they need some kind of guidance when it comes to social media advertising. That's like one thing. Tom McGuire up in at Good Tree MMA, he's friggin' wizard when it comes to building a program, getting boots on the ground, feet on the mats.
Yeah, man. You got to do the outreach. You got to put out there like what they're offering. Like, it's kind of a marketing issue too. And when their budget is strapped and they don't have a marketing budget, it's very difficult. If someone called me and was like, "Hey, man, there's a streamlined way to get all your members USA Judo memberships. Just maybe even like a reduced membership, like for the clubs or something. If you could just provide X number, something, because I could probably be strong armed a little bit into like, all right, getting major. Like maybe it's like a yellow belt minimum or something like that. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's this whole thing, like, we got to do better. We got to be better. I mean, sometimes I'm having these conversations, I don't know what that even looks like.
Like in regards to like creating the fandom, the attention that judo needs. The one thing that we don't have that we should have is a magazine. We don't have a magazine where we can push the next Neil Adams of the United States, Shintaro Higashi, with what you've been doing with your podcast, with being on the tour as a commentator, color commentator. We don't have that. We don't have a magazine that's highlighting our athletes. We don't have a magazine that's highlighting a coach's corner. We don't have a magazine that's highlighting our tournaments. And they
need a marketing division. They really do. They need money coming in. And you know what? It really is like this peanut budget, just this shoestring budget. It's like they need to hire a marketing person. They need to hire, like I went to like a benefit, Gilda's Club or something like that for like, I can't remember. It's like AIDS patients, family members, or support, whatever it is. And the person that invited me to that thing, her only job is writing grants. Yeah. Like asking for grants, grant writing. That's it. That's her only job.
So you just touched on the subject. Okay. Do you know that I'm looking into that right now, when it comes to events, you can find a grant writer to help you find a grant and write the grant, write, your response to the
Yeah.
grant to be able to get the money to host an event in a bigger facility. Because think
Mm.
about, like, let's say the US Open. What a
Yeah.
marvel that tournament has turned out to be. Jerry Navarro and
Yeah.
his crew, they did an
Yeah.
excellent job in creating the US Open. And so my point is that, what does it take to rent that facility out, the convention center in Fort Lauderdale? 80
No
to
idea.
90,000, and that's just for the space. Doesn't include the security. Doesn't include the internet. The internet, my God, it'll kick you. It'll kick you in the head once you find out what you got to pay for internet.
Really? How much is it?
No.
Do you know?
Oh, it could run you 15,000 to 20,000 for a
Wow.
weekend. Yeah, yeah. And so, like, even USA Judo, when they're running their events, it's common knowledge that, you know we're breaking even with our events, with you.
Yeah.
So the youth nationals, Presidents Cup,
Mm.
the senior nationals, and the junior Olympics.
Yeah.
Those are big events, but because of the cost of running these events, they are in a break even situation, or sometimes we do dip into the red. And I think that's pretty much out there. The board knows that.
Yeah.
The board knows that, and I mean, could we take a couple of chapters from Jerry Navarro to kind
Yeah.
of make that a better situation? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's not that part of holding events, man. It's not a easy business, and you do need help of a grant writer, and it's
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. You need like an advocate, or like a salesperson, or a grant writer, or fundraiser, or something. I knew a guy. He's like a principal of a school. Just hired someone just to get on the phone and make fundraising calls, and then do fundraising events for the school, because it's a private school.
and
And
I
it's like
think.
every alumni, everything, everybody. Hey, do you remember me or this school? Like, you were an alumni. Would you like to give $1,000 on the mail, email? Everything. They're just getting bombarded with stuff. And it's like, all right, fine. I'll give you $500. I'll go to the benefit dinner. And now all of a sudden, the schools. This one guy that you're paying a salary 50,000, 100,000, whatever it is, that guy's raising $800,000 for the private school.
Yeah.
They have hired positions like that. That's what USA Judo needs to do. And then it always comes back to, we don't have the money. Okay, so what's the CEO doing? The CEO should be bringing that money in.
Yeah.
If you promise $4 million, and if there's $4 million there, you could hire those positions.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, and listen, I wonder what other NGBs are doing, to solidify that. I don't think we are. I don't know that. I don't think we have somebody on staff that can do that. And we're falling behind. I mean, we have the Olympics coming up in 2028, and
We haven't even been talking about so supposedly, I'm talking to the members of the board now. They haven't even had a conversation about it yet, because there's just so much internal conflict.
Not only that, but I also, I don't think that they can, because whatever the criteria is, it's criteria that's going to be handed down by the USOPC. So although, listen, I've been to most of these tournaments, even the ones that are abroad, and everybody, coaches are asking, what's going to be the criteria? What's going to be the criteria? And I don't think it's been communicated to the membership that they have to wait on that until they get the green light. But the communication is what's lacking, and the reason why it's lacking is because you're right, there is turmoil, at the very top, and it's if we can't fix what's going on at the top, this is gonna continue.
Yeah, brutal. Well, man, thank you very much. Don't want to take too much more of your time. Do you want to plug something? You want your tournament, your school? What do you want to plug, man?
I want to plug the podcast.
And I don't do this to everybody. This is because you're my friend, and we're New York, New Jersey guys. We're in the local circuit,
I want to plug the Shintaro Higashi podcast. Everybody's paying attention to you.
Thanks,
when you're abroad, and we're looking for that person that's going to fill that role, to be the Neil Adams of the United States. Shintaro, I think you're it.
Oh, thanks, bro.
I
Appreciate it,
think
man.
you're it, man, and everybody's super happy that you've taken this on, and
Thanks,
just
man. Thank you.
keep doing what you're doing. In December 15th, Saro and I are trying to throw a team championship. Maybe we'll be
Nice.
lucky enough to have Shintaro there to commentate.
That'll be
Also,
really fun. Yeah.
right, right.
Yep.
Hope
Yep.
you're in town. If you're not doing any
If
seminars,
I'm in town,
we'll
yeah,
be
for
there.
sure. Yeah.
Right? But I appreciate you listening to one end user, right? And I just hope
Yeah.
that we this election is a big election. It's
Mm.
important, and what you don't want it to turn into is a January 6th situation.
Yeah.
I heard the podcast with Chris Round. He was going to stay really vanilla on it, but I'll go ahead and tell you that sometimes people have to do right by the situation
Yeah.
and know that they're not going to win and to back off
Yeah.
what it is that they're trying to gain and take a back seat and
Yeah.
and I'm talking to everybody on the board right now, so
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Well,
thank you,
thank you so
Shintaro.
much. Thank you so much.